Hey guys, it's Dan here with another week in review where I go over the comics I read for the week. The first comic I read for the week is Batman Terror. This one, I was kind of expecting it to be better than it was. It does feature Dr. Hugo Strange, and he has this plot to go into Arkham, and he hypnotizes the Scarecrow, and he tries to get these other, like, Bat villains to work with him against the Batman. And it was just okay. I was kind of expecting this to be better than it was, and this was only 3 out of 5 stars that I rated it. Like I said, it could have been much better, but it is what it is. After that, I read Batwing, Welcome to the Family. This is volume 4. It's been a very long time since I've read any Batwing. And the original Batwing is some guy from Africa. I think he's from the Congo. I don't know if it's a real city or not. I don't remember the name of the city. But he decides he wants to quit because he feels it's just too risky for him. And Lucas Fox, who is Lucius Fox's son. If you're not familiar with who Lucius Fox is the guy who designs all of Batman's tech gear. And he decides to pick up the mantle and become Batwing. And I have to admit, guys, I really was not liking this. I mean, Batwing was already, to begin with, a really weak title. And I just felt that this was only a 2 out of 5 star book. I don't really think I'm going to pursue reading any more of these Batwing books because it was really weak. It just wasn't that Up next, great. We have The Lost Boy by Greg Ruth. I guess Greg Ruth has done some different illustrating for other comics, and I don't think I've ever seen this guy's stuff, but this artwork is really good. I think it's like pencil or ink. Yeah, it looks like graphite. It's hard to tell. It might be graphite or ink. But this is really interesting story about a boy. I got to be careful what I say about this book because I really don't want to spoil it. About this boy who discovers this fairy fantasy kingdom in the woods and our ties to it. He happens to disappear, and this other boy moves into his house and discovers his old tape recorder, and the mystery ensues. And this was really, I have to admit, this was kind of a slow book, but it does pay off in the end. I'm going to recommend this for anyone who is a fan of those, like, 80s, like, fantasy kids movies. I would say, I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. If you're a fan of those, like, Never-Ending Story and stuff like that, you might really enjoy this. After that, I read 100th Anniversary Marvel. This is a imagining of what some of the major books are going to be like 100 years, or the 100, like in 2061, I think. So it's like 100 years from the start of Marvel Comics. This was okay. I mean, it could have been much better. Some of them were kind of goofy. Like, there was the Spider-Man one. There was a Fantastic Four and X-Man one. And then there was a Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I said, it was just okay. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy one was like the most interesting art style. I've kind of seen this art style before, but I can't remember who it is. But I did think this was okay, so I did rate this 3 out of 5 stars. If you want to check it out, feel free to check it out, but it's not like a must-read, let's just say that. After that, I read Thunderbolts, Marvel's Most Wanted. You would think that this is a Thunderbolts book, but it's not. No, this is just a, it's an origin stories of the Thunderbolts, so I really wasn't really liking this. It was back when, you know, kind of Marvel Comics were really corny. These corny... I said on my Goodreads about this, it was corny supervillain origin stories. And that's basically what it is. So I only rated this 2 out of 5 stars. I just really wasn't feeling it. I mean, it was such a struggle to get through this. But it wasn't too terrible where I wanted to DNF it, but I just didn't care. Okay, up next we have Star Wars Empire Volume 4. This one is called The Heart of the Rebellion. This one was very centered on Leia. It was a lot of political stuff, to be quite honest with you. It was just okay. This could have been much more exciting and a little better, but it is what it is, and I only rated this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It was just okay. After that, I read Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 2. I do have to admit that 3/4 of this book I had already read in smaller volumes, but the last quarter of this was stuff I had not read, which featured the Ultimate Cloak and Dagger, which was kind of interesting to see their origin because they did have a different origin. The original origin story was how they got their powers through drugs, which was really kind of stupid, and, you know. But, you know, hey, this was a very good read. Of course, anything that's Miles Morales and Alternate Spider-Man was really, really good. And I did rate this one 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Sorry if I'm kind of flipping through this kind of fast. I'm in the parking lot because my kid's at home and I can't film at home right now, so of course people are driving by and they're looking at me weird. But that's that one. Chimichanga by Eric Powell, and this is an Image Dark Horse. Oh, it's a Dark Horse, sorry. Not an Image comic, it's a Dark Horse. And this one is suitable for all ages. It is about a little girl, a bearded little girl from a circus that her grandfather owns. And she makes a deal with this old witch and gets this egg, and Chimichanga hatches from the egg. To be quite honest with you guys, I really thought this was fucking stupid. I really couldn't get into it. I don't know if maybe it's because it's intended for all ages, but another thing I'd like to add is this guy, Eric Powell. He's the guy who did Goon, if you're familiar with what Goon is. It's like a supernatural comic that Dark Horse does. So this was just, I just couldn't get into this, and I rated this only 2 out of 5 stars. Sorry, it's just not for me. Maybe if you're into, like, children's, like, fantasy, maybe you might like this, but I honestly couldn't stand this. Up next we have Octopus Pie by Meredith Gran. Don't let this book fool you. This is not a kid's book. It's not children's. It is not a children's, comic strip book. It is very much for adults. It does discuss like drug use and sex and all that, but it's mostly about this girl who's always referred to by her last name. Her first name is Eve, but her last name is Ning, so I'm assuming she's Asian of some sort. It's about her, basically her adulting life, where she lives in an apartment. She gets a new roommate who is someone she knew from preschool, and she's a stoner, and it was just, this was just kind of bad, and it just felt like it was not going anywhere. I don't know. I rated this 2 out of 5 stars. It wasn't very entertaining. I don't know what else to say. Maybe if you're a fan of Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life, maybe you'll like this, but it just wasn't for me. Up next we have The Sandman, A Game of You, Volume 5. This is one of those books, I just have to say that, like, I don't understand why everybody rates Neil Gaiman's work, like, 4 or 5 stars. Like, this was just an average story. This one was about a woman named Barbie, who, she has this, like, dream world where she's the princess of it, and there's this villain in that world called the Cuckoo, and it was just really weird, but it wasn't that bad, and it wasn't that great either. I do know that, I read a majority of these Sandman books, and, you know, sometimes they were really good, sometimes they were just okay, and you know, this is another one of them that was just okay. I did rate this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It's okay. Okay, up next we have Arkham Asylum, Living Hell. If you get this and you're thinking it's going to be a Batman book because it's got Batman on the cover, you're going to be greatly disappointed because it has brief appearances by Batman. The main hero or anti-hero, whatever, is Etrigan, the Demon Knight. And this shows more or less a glimpse into Arkham Asylum, and it's got a lot of villains I've never really heard of before. It was okay. It does have some majors like Joker and Two-Face, Killer Croc, but it was just okay. And like I said, it didn't really have Batman in it too much, so I only rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, this is where I'm going to end my week in review, and I'm going to end it with Great Pacific Volume 2, Nation Building. Now, it's been a while since I read the first volume. And the first volume introduced the nation of New Texas. And if you don't remember or you didn't see my first review of the first volume, there's this island, excuse me, this island of floating plastic garbage debris in the Gulf of Mexico, and this guy named Chaz Worthington III, he kind of finds that he decides to make a settlement out of it because it's just, you know, it's an unmoving mass of stuff. So he is the leader of this new nation, and it's right now in this volume he's going over issues of people trying to sabotage his reign on this little island of garbage. There's people like these green terrorists, and there's like warlords from Africa that are trying to make deals with him, and people are pissed off about some kind of financial deal. And so it's really a really complex story. This is an Image comic, by the way, if I didn't mention that. It's really complex, and I really enjoyed this book. I don't know that if everyone else feels the same way about this, but I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars. It's worth checking out if you're into the possibility of like stuff like this, like in the environment and stuff like that. Because there's also like mutated sea creatures too, which is kind of cool. So if you've read any of these, let me know if you plan on reading any of them. I know I said this in every video, but nobody ever responds, nobody ever comments. So thank you for watching. Until next time, later guys.